most of the problems that we have can be traced back to an insufficient immune system. Lily really, she came to us a kibble hound. It was just natural for us to, okay, let's work on the food. Now I started thinking about, well, what about girls that aren't as fortunate as Lily to have chef dad, and or they have folks that are just intimidated in the kitchen and they don't want to feed or they don't understand the importance of fresh food. Mm. So maybe we can even help people that are feeding their pups kibble and stuff at the same time, insinuating that you move into fresher items. And that has helped us a lot. A lot of people have used our products going, hey, what's next? I'll tell you what's next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Judy Morgan, and today I have a guest who is, his company is one of the silver sponsors for the International Naturally Healthy Pets Experience by All Provide. So we are excited that Wolf Creek Wellness is going to be part of this huge event. So Chef Scot, thank you so much for agreeing to be a silver sponsor.
Absolutely.
And for coming to play the game.
Oh, thanks for having us. I love the game.
That's awesome. So as a silver sponsor, we agreed that we would do a video focusing on some of what Wolf Creek does, and you have an amazing line of products that you have formulated. And it all started with, you're a chef and you had a restaurant, 2 restaurants?
Right. Lisa, my partner and wife in the business, we owned a restaurant in downtown Tampa, and timing was perfect, right? We were just expanded, closed down for a couple of weeks, refurbished the place, revamped the menu, having a ball. And then this little thing called COVID came around and said, you might do something else. We hung on for a while. We were so excited. We had just gotten a contract with the Yankees because they come and do spring camp down there and stuff. And the day after we got the contract, we hear they're all locked up in their hotel rooms. And so that didn't pan out for us. Found myself with some extra time.
And so then you decided, I have all this extra time. I'm going to formulate supplements for dogs.
Yeah, in a nutshell. And it wasn't that easy. I'm a human chef, and I think in different terms, but then I started noticing some similarities. We all need wellness, and it's been a really cool journey to transition from what I used to do, and I'm using more of what I used to do than I ever thought I would, doing what I'm doing now. So yeah, we got it started when we got Lily, our poodle. She came to us nervous and allergies, and several $1,000s later, and someone trying to tell us what they thought was happening and throwing medications at her. We decided there must be a better way. Be a better way.
That's awesome. See, I would think the natural transition from being a chef making human food would have been making dog food, but instead you said, no, I'm going to make some supplements, and they've been wildly successful. And we are thankful for all the formulating that you do. And I just talking to you, I realize how much research you do on every single ingredient. What's the nutrient profile? What's the benefits? What are the possible drawbacks? Is this safe? How much of each thing do we need to put in there? And that requires a ton of background and research and knowledge. And you have to have a passion for it to do all of that.
It's true. And that's how I approached cooking. I spent a lot of time wondering why I had to soak beans prior to cooking beans. And then I would want to know what's the anatomy of a bean, and what is it inside the bean? What makes those starches get hard when they get boiled too hard or something like that? And that interest and that passion and that curiosity it transferred right over. And so I wanted to know why dogs don't ferment carbohydrates and vegetables in their belly, and these types of things. What do they need to thrive? Why can't they have a biscuit for breakfast like I do and just do just fine? I don't have too many biscuits anymore, but it was a natural transition for me. The learning curve was a little tough, but that curiosity was there.
Were you a science nerd in school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
I would not say chef, science nerd, but clearly.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So what we want to focus on today is immune system support for dogs. Because you do have an allergy and immune support product, which is very popular, and it's something that's added to the food. So what made you want to make an immune system support? You had a dog with allergies, so that probably was part of the driving force for that. But why would people want to have immune system support for their dogs?
For me, that just seemed to be the place to start. When we look at our own bodies holistically, we can take a pill for allergies, or we can take a pill for aches and pains, or we can work on the whole system. And that I had started doing that in my own life, and I wanted to figure out a way to do that for my favorite girl. And
don't let Lisa hear that.
My daughter probably won't hear this, but it just seems so important because most of the problems that we have can be traced back to an insufficient immune system. And Lily really, she came to us a kibble hound, and so it was just natural for us to, okay, let's work on the food. Now I started thinking about, well, what about girls that aren't as fortunate as Lily to have chef dad, and or they have folks that are just intimidated in the kitchen and they don't want to feed or they don't understand the importance of fresh food. Mm-hmm. So maybe we can even help people that are feeding their pups kibble and stuff at the same time, insinuating that you move into fresher items. And that has helped us a lot. A lot of people have used our products going, hey, what's next? I'll tell you what's next.
That's awesome. So, and really, even for animals who don't have allergies, we live in a toxic world. Yeah. So they're just being exposed to chemicals, even in our own homes. So, you buy new carpet or new furniture, and it's off-gassing and flame retardant chemicals. And interesting studies have shown that if you have dogs and cats in the household, and we test the dogs, the cats, and the people for a lot of these chemicals, these toxic chemicals that are in our world, cigarette smoke, air fragrances, cleaning fragrances, plus everything that's off-gassing. Cats actually have the highest levels of the chemicals because they're sleeping on the furniture and they're walking on the floors and they're always grooming and licking everything. Dogs are next, and then people. And so we are literally poisoning our animals with what's in the household. Not to mention, then we go walk them through neighborhoods where things might have been sprayed, or so it's a toxic world. And then our animals go through stresses that we don't even think about. Now, this product is good for dogs and cats, right?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So studies have shown that over 80% of house cats have a very high level of stress. Their cortisol levels are high. We think that we're being so nice to our kitty cats by giving them this wonderful environment inside and keeping them safe. It's very stressful for them. They're not getting to hunt and pounce and go for their prey.
They're against their nature.
Exactly. And then we bring our dogs in and we say to them, here's the people rules that you must follow. No barking, no jumping and playing, no climbing on the furniture.
Exactly.
And we stress them all the time without even thinking about it.
We do. And it's interesting, this whole journey that we started in 2020 has really improved our lives too, because the more that we see that my girls are 100 times more affected by these things than I am.
It's true.
I don't step in a well-manicured lawn anymore, and they certainly don't get to walk in a well-manicured lawn because I don't know what's in there. And anything that I'm feeding them, it's going to affect them 100 times more than it is me, if not more. So it really helped me change my life and help me focus more on my wellness And it's really interesting, that symbiotic relationship you have with your pets.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, something else that I think we need to look at is more and more people are living in apartments, townhomes, smaller spaces where the dogs don't have the ability to go out and race and romp and play. So a lot of people are now using either dog parks or daycare, group play settings, which the dogs need for socialization and getting out their yayas. But again, we need to have a strong immune system to have them in these group settings, because you don't know what everybody else, it's like when we send our kids to school and it's like, geez, every month.
Yeah.
What preschool crud are we all going to have this month?
And I'm telling you, and that had a lot to do with it too, raising 2 kids and watching them come home, with this and that, and then me getting it. So it's always been a struggle to keep your immune system strong. And then when we started thinking about our pups not even having they don't have a choice as to, okay, what's at the park? What is that,
Right.
Why are those weeds in that area dead around that telephone pole? Because they're spraying weed killer on it,
Good point. Good point.
Those things.
So what kind of ingredients did you look at? Like, I know you do a lot of stuff with Whole Foods because you're a chef, you're a food guy.
Right.
So what kind of things did you look at, and what kind of things did you end up in this product?
I started with the philosophy of as I do when I'm cooking or whatever it is I'm doing in that type of research, is looking at things I can understand. So most of those are going to be single ingredient. And then I formulate those. So like kelp. I understood that kelp was very nutrient dense, which is going to help the immune system. It also has a good balance, a good amount of iodine in it, which is good for the thymus or the thyroid rather, which helps drive the immune system. So I looked for ingredients that have a purpose, but also I'm thinking about, what does a dog and cat like? What will they be happy to consume? And so I don't want any chemical flavors or anything like that. And that also, I don't like chemically rendered stuff. So we look for mushrooms, whole mushrooms. We look for ingredients from the ocean. We look for ingredients from the land, but it really is important how it's raised. And for us, it's important, is it sustainable?
Right.
And not just for Mother Earth, but also if people love my products, I want to make sure that I can keep getting it and not cause a problem as I'm trying to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it's purity of ingredients that are effective, and every ingredient has to have a purpose.
Right.
No fillers.
Which is so important, because it has to be palatable enough that when we put it in the food, we're not going to get I'm not going to eat that ever again. So it's critical. I've had great success with my pets eating your products. I've never had anybody turn their nose up and look at me like, well, what did you put in here now?
It happens though. Some people come to us and they say, my pup just won't eat anything. And we have, we can teach you how to dilute it, turn it into a gravy, even put it into an oral syringe if your dog's really just stubborn or your cat's really stubborn. Hate to try to give a cat an oral syringe, but
so far I've been lucky. My animals have been really happy with the products, so it has not been an issue.
And 99% of everyone that's used the products have said the same thing. Once or twice, someone says, "My dog's so finicky," and we help them through it. And 99% of those times, they're like, "Oh yeah, it does help to mix it with the oil, or it does help to mix it with beef broth."
Yeah. So we're talking about allergy and immunity. I also want to talk about the salmon oil with hemp seed oil. Mm-hmm. What made you look at that combination?
I wanted a blend of different omega fatty acids. Of course, you have the DHA and EPA in the salmon oil, but I also wanted some plant-based omega fatty acids as well. And GLA and the hemp seed is also great for the coat. And the salmon oil is kind of a no-brainer for coat. So those together work very well for skin, coat, and actually it's kind of a cure-all. They really help almost everything with the brain and the joints, and it's just
heart health, joint health.
And they call them essential fatty acids for a reason. They are essential.
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be frustrating to me because I get people who have had pets with pancreatitis in the past, and they're like, "Oh, I can't use any fats, I can't use any oils," and they're trying to pull back so much that they end up with these huge deficiencies. And so then we start seeing coat problems, we start seeing joint problems, and we start seeing neuromuscular problems because the nerves need those oils to be able to function. So I think that's a really cool combo, and I haven't seen a lot of companies that have said, I'm going to combine a plant oil with a fish oil. And so I think that's a great combo product.
I appreciate it. And it's good to hear that, because people get afraid of plant oils because of the content of maybe omega-6, but you need all these fatty acids.
You do. You do.
And if you're feeding a good, fresh diet, then
the omega-6s aren't going to be an issue. And so that's where the problem is in a lot of the extruded kibble products.
Yeah.
We want an omega-6 to 3 ratio of less than 5 to 1. And so a lot of these really high quality human grade foods that we're seeing now from the smaller companies, well, some of them are becoming big, but their ratios are down there. Some of them are 3 to 1, 2 to 1. I mean, they're where we want them to be. Where we get in a little more trouble is if you're feeding one of those extruded products where the 6 to 3 ratio might be 30 to 1. And maybe we want to be a little careful. However, I will say that even though those ratios are completely out of balance, a lot of the nutrient qualities in those foods is so degraded from the high heat processing.
Especially the omega.
The omegas and the
it goes rancid fast.
Yeah, the fat soluble vitamins, the A, D, E, and K are destroyed in that process. So, so I think my dogs get an oil supplement every day. I think even though they're eating a really high quality diet, I'm going to help their heart health, their brain health.
Same here.
I want that their hearts. I have breeds that all are prone to heart disease, so we're going to do everything we can to help them out. Well, this is amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I would like to crawl around inside your brain for a little while and just see how it fires and how it works, because what you're doing is very, very cool.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I think I don't have the patience for that.
I get, like anything, you can rabbit hole. And Lisa has to stay on me. She's like, you are developing a product and you've been doing it for a really long time now. And I'm like, I'm almost there. One more paper to read, Right. One other thing I wanted to say about the oil is, this kind of goes with everything that we're talking about when I'm formulating products, is it's barely refined. It's minimally processed.
Right.
The salmon oil is very minimally processed. The hemp oil is virgin cold pressed, so there's no heat added to it. So it retains all that all the good nutrients.
And I think that's a lot of why seed oils get a bad rap, because the high heat expeller pressed oils, they're not so good. If that's what you're putting in your diet or your pet's diet, you're not adding something beneficial.
Right.
You're probably adding something harmful.
Yeah.
But when we look at things that are cold pressed and don't have that high heat added to them, they're actually hugely beneficial.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you very much, and can't wait for the international event. It's going to be amazing.
We are so excited. Without you and following you, we wouldn't be where we are. We truly love everything you do.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.